Peace and bliss, peace and bliss, peace and bliss. I have to tell you this. How are we, tribe? How are we doing today? Sophia, you're the first person to join this beautiful live today. So I want to tell you, first of all today, peace and bliss. Peace, love, and happiness, joy, abundance, resilience, empowerment. I wish this to you guys all. How we doing today, tribe? Taryn, Susan, L, Noah, peace and bliss. How we doing today? How we doing this morning? How we doing this evening? How we doing right now? How we doing right now, tribe? Do y'all feel that energy circulating? Do y'all feel that tribal energy? I feel it. I feel you guys' energy. I feel your good vibes. I feel your love. So grateful to be with you all today. Haley. I just sent you like 10 kisses, Haley. I hope you get every single one of them. Destiny, Deborah, how are we doing today? I'm going to give it a little bit of time, so relax, kick back a little bit. I'm going to be putting and sharing this live to the other groups, and then we are going to get started. So just sit back and relax for a little bit. Meditate, get into your heart space, take a moment to be grateful. Okay, let's see. Hello, Frederick. Be beautifully, Natalie. Peace and bless to you all. Just letting a little bit more people come in and fill in. And then we will get started. Guys, share this video. You feel called to. This is going to be an amazing video. I'm so excited to be able to dive in and break this down for a lot of people. Natalie, this is called Chill Step. This is my entire life of music. Completely instrumental, peaceful, high vibration, and also a collaboration of like hip hop mixed with like dubstep with just chill music. So I love it. Alright, gonna share this in a few more groups. I'm so happy to see you guys this morning. Birds are chirping, bees are buzzing, flies are everywhere. Ooh, where's my incense? Okay, let's get started. Let's dive deep. Oh man, my incense went out. Let's try this again. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Grand rising to you all. As you guys are coming in, say hello so I can wish you peace and bliss on this beautiful, awesome, fantastic, magnificent day. So happy you guys could be here with me today. Alva, King, Amber, how are you, Queen? There we go. There we go. Okay. So excited. So excited. How to deal with negative people. Ooh. Yes. How do we deal with negative people? Well, the way that we deal with negative people. First off, before we even dive into how to deal with negative people, let's dive into what is negative and what classifies as negative and what makes somebody negative. So in order to understand negative energy, we have to understand energy, right? And so energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred or moved. So energy is flowing continuously, right? So positive energy is energy that is flowing, right? Now stagnant energy, that's what we call negative energy. When something is keeping energy from flowing, it becomes stagnant and it builds up and it creates density. And so we call negative energy energy that is dense, energy that is stagnant, energy that's in traffic. That is negative energy. So when we're talking about negative people, we're not talking about bad people. We're not talking about evil people. We're talking about people who sometimes struggle to release. People who have taken on toxic energy from other people and from other circumstances, and they have not yet learned how to release. So it becomes very toxic within them, and then that ends up projecting into their realities with the people that they interact with their state of mind. Yes. I don't like really using the word energy vampires, because technically speaking, everything is an energy vampire. Technically speaking, you guys are energy vampires right now if you guys are listening to the energy that I'm feeding off. So that's why me personally, I don't like using energy vampires, because energy is always being given and received. And a lot of times energy is being given and received unconsciously. So just because that energy is being either sent out or being received unconsciously doesn't make you an energy vampire. That's just my opinion, but I don't like personally applying negative connotations on words and certain things. To help us today innerstand and overstand and understand how to deal with negative people, we've got my brother here. Now my brother is a very, very special individual to me. Say hi to everyone, Stanley. Stanley is going to be our negative entity for today. He is going to hold space for us to allow this message to be delivered. This is my buddy, my pal. He's been with me since day one. My A1 since day one. Stanley is a very, very powerful light worker. In fact, he embodies the stagnant energy by not moving, just so he could be that example for us. So thank you for your service, Stanley. We love you, and we're so happy that you could be here with us today. So what we are going to do is I'm going to walk you all through practically how to deal with negative people. Because I feel like a lot of people just have a lot of positive words to say, but when it's time to actually get in those moments, it's a lot harder for those things to be practical. Those of you guys coming in, say hello so I can wish you peace and bliss. So I want to walk you all through this process practically to understand how us as light workers and us as healers help in those spaces with people who are around us who have that toxic and negative energy. So the first part, in my opinion, when it comes to dealing with negativity, is learning how to detach yourself from your ego. Before you can do anything, before you can deal with this person, before you can try to heal this person, before you can hold space for this person, you cannot do so if you are attached to the ego. Because the ego is the gangster in you, right? The ego is the one that said, what the fuck you just say to me? The ego is the one that says, oh, we're not going to take that. So we can't be that version of us when we're trying to heal or push toxic energy out of somebody else. Here's the reason why. Because the only way to push toxic energy out of a vessel is for that vessel itself to make the decision to release that energy. The only way they can release that energy is if that energy is made aware to them that it is being toxic or that it is being stagnant. The only way that energy can be revealed to them as being toxic or stagnant is if that energy is reflected to them. The only way for that energy to be reflected to them is for another vessel to reflect something different that makes them then look at themselves. If you are operating within your ego, then you're operating in the same state of being as that person. Therefore, they can't see the reflection of how different you are that's going to make them look at themselves. They're going to see the same thing that they are within themselves, within you, which is only going to further perpetuate that toxic energy. So we got to separate ourselves from the ego. Here's how I separate myself from my ego. All right. I separate myself from my ego by giving my ego its own identity. I have an alter ego. Because here's the beautiful thing about being a God. We are all gods. We are all co-creators. We are a God serving the God, right? Well, gods are infinite. Gods can be anything, anyone, any circumstance. So what we do is we learn how to detach ourselves from our ego, and then stepping into the role of another version of us that is able to hold space and able to observe the toxic negative energy that's in other people without taking offense, without judgment, without anger or animosity towards that person. So Darryl is my ego. Darryl's who I grew up with. Darryl was the person who used to wear $3,000 suits. Darryl was the one that chased the money, chased the women. That's my ego. Pharaoh is my spirit. Pharaoh is the one you're talking to right now. Pharaoh is the reason why there's nothing you guys can say to me that's ever going to make me feel anything outside of peace. Because Pharaoh doesn't allow that. Because Pharaoh only observes. Pharaoh lives in the 5th dimension. Darryl lives in the 3D. And they work together. They play around together. They are best of fucking friends. So the first thing is separating yourself. So what we're going to do right now, first of all, I would like for you guys to give me something, give me a scenario of something that you may have struggled with dealing with a toxic person or a negative person. And I will use that example and we'll act this out with Stanley and I. And we'll show you practically how we work through this and what the end goal is and what the end objective is. Right? So you guys can type. Let me know a toxic situation that you guys may be facing. Husband, wife, co-worker, anyone who just has energy that is very hard for you to be around. Let me know, and I will use that as a practical example. Christine, the prestige, Christine. You're amazing. I love you. Thank you for your video earlier today. That really helped me. So guys, let me know any examples you guys have of any toxic relationships. My husband wants me in 3D. I know how that is. Mostly everyone wants you in the 3D because the 3D is what you can see. And that's why we have to leave the 3D to really understand what's going on energetically with people. That's why we have to learn how to separate ourselves from the ego, because the ego stays in the 3D. The ego lives in the 3D. So the ego is attached to the material world. So it's attached to to the material body of the person who has that stagnant energy. So in order for us to see the actual energy patterns within other people, we have to put on our energy goggles. And only our spirit side has access to those energy goggles. So Pharaoh has access to energy goggles. So Pharaoh is the one who needs to take over when we realize that someone has toxic energy. Haley says, what about anti-abortion laws, since this is a big topic today? I'll touch on that in 1 second because we're giving too much energy to stuff like that. But I will touch on it because we are giving energy to it nonetheless. Okay, so we have spouses coming up. So we'll use spouses. So husband and wife and husband. What are some things as far as give me some things that bring up emotions. What are some things that trigger other people? What are some times where someone who had negative or toxic energy got angry at you or lashed out at you? So Haley says there's a lot of anger and negativity surrounding the debate, each side saying there's a person being denied body rights. I want to talk about abortion, but I don't want to talk about it right now. Maybe even as this conversation continues, maybe Spirit will direct me to do that. Because I'm so pro-choice, it's unreal. Even spiritually, to be honest with you, yeah, a large part of me doesn't even really care about it, to be honest. But I will address it though. So we've got husband and wife. Let's start with that. All right. So husband and wife, and there's a friction between dimensions. All right. So one person lives in one dimension, the other person lives in another dimension. So first of all, you have to understand that if you are dealing with a toxic person who is not on the same frequency as you, then you have to learn how to leave your frequency and meet them at their frequency. That's first things first. If you're choosing to have a relationship with this person, you have to know how to meet them where they're at. So a lot of times this happens when people wake up. They wake up, they realize they're in this 3D illusion. They realize that everything they thought was real is false. So then they go and try to run in the opposite direction. They're like, you know what? I don't want to be attached to this material world at all. They say, you know what? I don't want to work for the US dollar anymore at all. I want to serve my higher purpose. So they run immediately to the far right side. And that creates separation between everyone who's in the 3D and where that person is currently. And so a lot of times people get so comfortable there because they see so much healing there. They see so much healing on the far right side that they don't want to leave, right? Because they're afraid. They're afraid because they remember how frustrating things were in the 3D and how much stuff they had to deal with in the 3D and all that fear and low vibration energy, right? But this is what you have to realize about the 3D. The 3D is like a gym, right? So what's happened in the 3D is that we were a slave to the 3D. So that's why we looked at it the way that we did. We were a slave to the material world because we didn't have the knowledge and understanding of self to break away from it, right? So once we broke away from it, we have to realize now that we're free. Once we got out of the 3D is no longer bad. It's no longer negative. It was only negative because we were a slave to it. And so a lot of times we have to realize as light workers that our work is in the 3D. So once you leave and you step into that 5D and you start manifesting your reality, you start healing yourself, you start working through those traumas, you start changing your diet, it's time to go back into the 3D and integrate that because that's where our physical bodies are. So you've got a lot of people right now in the spiritual space who are getting high off being in the 5th dimension. They're getting high off of not having to be accountable for what goes on in the 3D. They're like, that's not my world anymore. But yes, that is your world. And that separation that you've created from the 3D is preventing you from doing your light work because you're trying to light up a room from the other side of the door. You've got a candle in your hand and you're trying to hold it through the door thinking that the space inside that other door is going to receive that light. No, honey, you've got to walk in there and you've got to present that light. So, practically, what does that look like? Practically. So the first thing I do, whenever someone comes at me sideways, right? Someone's like, they cursed at me, they said something that instantly made me realize, okay, some shit's finna go down. First thing I do, boom, clock Darryl the fuck out. Darryl is clocked out at that time. Ego is clocked out. Pharaoh clocks in. Bring! Boom, Pharaoh's here. Now, who is Pharaoh? Who is your spirit side? You have to define this. Just like your ego is defined, you have to define your spirit side, right? So Pharaoh, who is Pharaoh? Pharaoh's chill as fuck. Pharaoh loves everything unconditionally. Pharaoh doesn't even swat flies. Pharaoh allows bees and wasps to lay on him. Pharaoh is completely connected to source. Pharaoh works with other people's higher selves. So when someone's lashing out at me, and when someone is being angry at me, Pharaoh's having a conversation with their higher self. And their higher self is communicating to Pharaoh saying, yeah, this is what I've been trying to communicate to my lower self. But my lower self hasn't been able to understand what I'm saying because it's so attached to the 3D. So that's why I'm so glad that Pharaoh, I'm so glad that you're here right now talking to me, because now you can deliver the messages to my lower self that I have not been able to deliver. Boom. Cool. Pharaoh, that's Pharaoh's job. Pharaoh is the fucking mailman, right? He's the shit. I fucking love Pharaoh, right? So, boom. So, Pharaoh now. So, Darryl is sitting right there. We sat Darryl the fuck down. Darryl is sitting there. His physical body is right there. He's having a conversation with Stanley, who is my third dimension husband. Darryl is going to be the divine feminine because he fucking can. So we're having this conversation right now, right? Right? So who's right here right now? So right here, this is Pharaoh. So Pharaoh is now able to separate himself from the ego, separate himself from Darryl, and separate himself from Stanley, and be able to look now from a third person perspective, right? So now I'm in a state of observing. So now I can look at everything and collect all the information about this situation without judging. I'm able to enter into a scientific methodology of understanding when I'm in this space, when I'm sitting in that third space right here, right? So now I'm able to listen to the words that my spouse is delivering and then identify the source and the root of that misplaced energy, right? So see, we're having a conversation about 3D versus me being in the 5D. What that materializes is, okay, Darryl, you're not bringing enough income into the household. I don't like my job right now, and I don't like having to work when you're able to sit here and do your light work, right? That sounds like something that would normally happen in a split dimensional relationship. So Darryl's sitting here just nodding his head right now because spirit is being moved out and is talking to both of these people in the astral planes, right? So I'm going to listen to Stanley. I'm going to listen to the words that he's saying. For example, if my husband tells me that, hey, I am feeling like I don't think it's fair that I hate my job, and you're sitting here enjoying yourself and having all this peace and you're not working. That really, really angers me. Boom. He's angry. So right off the bat, I know he's working in his root chakra. And that makes perfect sense because the root chakra is why he's attached to the material world. Well, the root chakra is governed by the energy pattern of fear, right? So there's something that he's afraid of. And obviously, right off the bat, as healing alchemists, we know that he's afraid of leaving his job. He's afraid of pursuing his purpose. So he's attached to the material world. So he hates his job because he knows he's supposed to be doing something better. And now he sees me, the beautiful fifth dimensional DJ, Darryl, who is working within his purpose, even though it's not materially, drawing in wealth or income. And I'm able to create this sustainability of inner peace. He sees that, and now that frustrates him. So we can see how my reflection is what is allowing him to see his projection. My reflection allows him to see his projection. Now, if Darryl decided to get mad at what he was saying and say, fuck you, you don't get it, you're not awake yet, I can't help that, I can't understand that, you just don't see me, we're just unequally yoked, we don't see eye to eye, you need healing, he's gonna shut the fuck down. Do you see that face? You think he's gonna listen to what I just said if I come off leading like that? He's not even flinching with the fly that's on top of his head. That's how stagnant his energy is. So we have to realize this. The most powerful thing that we can be is still. Stillness. Peace. The more at peace we are, the more still we are. Literally not fucking moving. The more we do that, the better reflection they see. Imagine how it is when you're trying to get your life ready, right? Imagine when you're trying to get ready for work. Imagine you're trying to get ready for work, you're trying to get ready for your party, you're trying to get ready for that best version of you. And imagine the person holding your mirror keeps on moving it. They're like, yo, yeah, can you see it? Can you see it? Can you put your makeup on when this is happening? Okay, this is what happens when you respond negatively to people with toxic energy. They're like, what? I can't see myself because the image is moving so much, right? So you've got to be still. You got to calm down. You have to relax. Oh, now I can see myself. So now I can see how I'm acting. I can see what I'm speaking. I can see my vibrations because the reflection is being still. Woo! I told you this is going to be a great live today. All right? So we have to be still. And it's a lot easier to be still when we've got our ego sitting down, having the conversation, but we've got our spirit observing the conversation, right? So we observe now the fear. We know the source of this entire conversation. We know now that what he's really upset about has nothing to do with actually me. This has everything to do with his fear of leaving his job, of leaving the 3D. And so he doesn't know how to deal with that. And so he's literally communicating to you exactly what he needs help with. You just had to separate your ego by being able to enter into the Pharaoh, the observer, to be able to understand what he's actually trying to communicate to you. Right? So now that we have this source of fear, how can we transmute his fear? How can we transmute his fear into confidence? Right? So if he needs more confidence in himself, that's going to alleviate the fear, that's going to allow him to take that plunge out of the 3D and tap into those higher dimensions of consciousness. Again, he's looking at us now. He's looking at the mirror. So what can we reflect to him? How can we reflect the healing that he needs? We have to embody that healing. So we embody that inner security. So when he lashes out at us like that, we give him words of security. We give him words of empowerment. We lift him up. We give him strength. We say, King, listen, I know it's hard. I know it's hard, but you are strong enough to be able to deal with this. You are strong enough to do anything you put your mind to, King. So if you want to continue to work this job, you are strong enough to do it. But if you also realize that you have a greater purpose, if you also realize that you have more destined to you in your life, then you also have the ability to leave that job because you're so strong and I believe in you and I have courage in you. You're so strong. I know that if you left, you would be able to find a job that keeps you more at peace so that you can also come and enjoy the peace that I've been able to create within myself as well. See, that is how we're able to stand in our truths still, while also being able to reflect the confidence and the fearlessness within ourselves still, but also being able to pour life into other people. See, a lot of times people will tell you you have to compromise between those things. You've got to compromise between speaking your truth and and delivering a message to someone else. Like you can only do one or the other. It's like, okay, I'm either going to speak my truth and offend you, or I'm going to hold it to myself and keep you comfortable. No, sweetheart. In the 5D, remember, we learn how to do both. We learn how to have abundance, so we can do both. So we can speak our truth and still pour light into you. That's what it means to be awake. Hello? Right? So that is how we work with talk. So when he feels that, right? So Stanley's sitting here. So when Stanley hears those words, when he hears that you're boosting him up, when he hears that empowerment, he's like, man, first of all, I'm receiving this love. I'm receiving this energy, even though I just cursed out my spouse. My spouse just sat here while I got, stood up, put my finger in her face, talked about how much I hate what she's doing. And she did nothing but lift me up, right? That's how the reflection works. That is how the reflection works. Because now they have no choice but to look at themselves, because the response was so still, all their awareness was put onto themselves. So like whenever someone comes up to you and tries to be nasty and toxic to you and speak words of negativity to you, the more still that you are, the higher the chances that when that circumstance is over, they're gonna walk back, they're gonna start walking, and they're gonna be like, damn, I was kind of a dick to him. Now that I think about it, I said some really hurtful things. You know what? I did raise my voice awfully loud. Damn, why'd I do that? And then that person just stayed calm the whole time and smiled. Told me they loved me. Wow. Like, wow. That's the mental conversation that happens. And then someone starts saying, okay, shit, like, what if I wanted to be like that? What if I wanted to be at peace at all times? Because that shit was cool as hell. Like, that person wasn't triggered at all by anything I said. That's unlike anything I've ever seen. My own mom, my own dad, my own sister, everyone lashed out at me. And I lashed back out at them. So I continued that pattern. But now someone has shown me a better option. Someone has shown me something different. So how can I download that into my own life? See, all this happens in the mind. That's the seed that is now planted and takes root because of what you reflected to them. So your work is done. Spirit, higher self, they now have what they need because now they see something within themselves. So now they seek the healing. So when you guys come and say, when y'all come in my inbox and say, I need healing, I need trauma healing, that means that somebody reflected that healing was needed in your life. So you thank them for it. Someone reflected something to you. It was either a circumstance or a person. But when you get to the point where you say, I need healing, those are the most empowering self-love words you can speak. Because you're saying, I see something better. Someone has shown me a healed version of self that I want to download and become. Let that sizzle in your spirit for a little while. Enjoy this music while you guys sit there and just meditate on that. Also, feel free to ask me any questions. If you guys like this video, share it. If anyone is dealing with negativity in their life, share it. If there's anyone that you think is acting negatively, share it. And not only share it, but when you're sharing it, put the time on the post of where you want the person to start watching it. Because that is efficiency. Meredith said, can you imagine a world like this, so loving and kind? The vibration you put out in the universe is awesome. Queen, what I'm trying to tell you is that our world is already like this. We just forgot. So we're just remembering right now. We're remembering that we've always been connected. We are all God. We are all the same thing. We're all the same thing. It's just our egos made us forget. So now we're in the process of remembering. But you're right, beautiful. This is awesome. It's a beautiful space to be in. But it happens consciously. That's why I'm always in heaven. Because I'm there consciously. See, when you're always there, your physical body can be in any circumstance, can be in any situation. But your consciousness, your awareness, can be in a state of bliss, can be in a state of peace, can be in a state of empowerment at all times. Queen, kings, your ability to be able to imagine paradise, to feel the feeling of accomplishing your dreams, realize that you're channeling your awareness. You're sending your awareness to a version of you in the future that has that abundance, that has that peace. And then you're feeling what they're feeling. You're like, man, that feels good. Can you imagine? Imagining is the process of feeling. So you're feeling that. So realize that your physical body is still right here, but you're feeling a future version of you. Now, how that possible? What magic is that? That's alchemy. So yes, it is beautiful. So I love you guys, and I like you guys, and I like you guys. Let me see if I can freestyle with this beat right here. Let's see what we got here. Cause I know I love my music. Got my quartz crystal right here. I also got my pyramid with me. We don't do that negative energy. Let's see. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm not gonna be on here too much longer, but I definitely enjoy my time with you all. So don't rush. Don't think you have to rush. Don't think you have to rush anyone's healing. Don't think you have to rush anything. Stop rushing. This is being channeled for somebody right now. Stop rushing people's healing processes. Stop rushing people's healing processes. Let me get as raw as possible. If there was a rapist and that rapist raped 19 people in 1 year, and the next year that nigga raped 18 people, then he's made progress. And you thank him for that progress. Woo! Boy, how much does it hurt to hear that? Because that's what it means to be the real light workers. The real light workers are light. There is no darkness that we do not shine light on. But it's your ego of what you... Oh, fuck. Fly flew right in my eye. It's your ego of telling you that something is too evil for repair. Something is too evil to say that I love it. And then we don't realize that we're putting that evil back into ourselves. How can you live in heaven consciously if there's so much evil in the world? How can you be there? If you're in heaven, then there's only balance. If you're truly in heaven consciously, it's only balance. So that means the love has to be unconditional. What does unconditional love mean? Because a lot of people think they know unconditional love, but the first thing they do is put a condition on it and say, that's why I love you. You're my daughter, that's why I love you. Nigga, that's a condition. Loving your daughter the same as you love the homeless person, that's unconditional. Meaning that there is no condition that anyone can be under that will keep you from loving them any more or any less than how much you love yourself in this present moment. That's true unconditional love. And the reason why, to be honest, the reason why there's a lot of what you guys refer to as evil still taking its time to leave the world is because you're taking your time trying to keep that energy of evilness in your mind stagnant instead of moving it out of your world. Once the evil leaves your mind, once the idea of evil leaves your mind, it has no choice but to leave your world. When it leaves your world gets projected externally, and then it leaves the external world. All right, Spirit's telling me to do some channeling. Match. Oh wow, that's good. That is good. I like that. Ooh. Yes, I like that. Thank you. Okay. So there's okay. Dope. Okay, so there are a lot of you guys out here right now who okay, so you have sent out intentions, and these intentions were made and they were created. So okay, alchemy. So you have ordered a lot of things on Amazon, right? And those things have been packaged and they're ready to be shipped, but because of what's equivalent to blocking being stagnant with your own negative energy, I guess because of your okay, because of your ego caused you to skip the part on Amazon of putting your address in. So the things that you're intending and expecting to show up on your doorstep don't know where to go because they have no address. And this is equivalent to you keeping that stagnant energy of negativity within yourself instead of releasing it. Once you release it, you become your authentic form. Your authentic form is your address, people. So when you release all those things and when you release that negativity within yourself, you become your authentic form, which is the address which lets your intentions know where to come. I hope you received that and you know who I'm talking to. Yes. It's all good. Cool. We're good. We're good. We got this. Follow. Is that following? Okay. Some of you guys aren't following. Some of you guys are following your mind instead of following your spirit. Instead of following your intuition, instead of following your feelings, you're following the mind. It's something about the mind. The mind is, imagine the mind like the computer, right? Your mind is a computer. So the computer has access to the internet, but the computer itself is not the internet. The computer itself is a collaboration of wires, hard drive, plasticware, metalware, right? So that's very, very finite. But it has access to the internet, which can be very, very infinite. The internet is your spirit. So it's a lot more efficient for you to rely on your spirit, your feelings, your intuition, because those are infinite. You have to spend more time with yourself. Once you spend more time with yourself, you'll have more confidence when certain feelings come up. And when certain feelings of intuition come up and discernment come up, you will have more confidence in relying on them because you've spent more time with yourself, so you feel more confident. The same way you would do with your spouse. The same way you do with your child when when they're trying to drive for the first time. The more times you drive with them, the more confident you feel about them driving. So if you're trying to put your spirit in the driving seat, you've got to spend more time with your spirit. Spend more time meditating. Spend more time eating and preparing high vibration foods. Okay, there's that message. All right, I'm gonna do one more channel. Someone's contemplating doing something, and it's like they're trying to rationalize it as a way to make it beneficial for them. Maybe someone has wronged you, and you're trying to like say, well, if I do this, it'll totally justify what he did to me. Or it could have something to do with money, and it's like, okay, you know, I could pay this, or I could find a way to get money for this, or, you know, I could be a little sneaky and do this, and technically no one would know or no one would figure out. It's an inefficient system. You're blocking your blessings. You're creating stagnation. It's more efficient. It's always more efficient to take the road that looks like it's going to be longer. It's always efficient to take the route of the road that looks like it's going to be tougher. It's always more efficient that way. Because if you're looking at a path and you've made that path in your mind and you rationalize, okay, this path will be the best path. Because you made that path in your mind, it only has finite information. Remember, it's a physical computer. So you pretty much are always fucked when you're setting a path based on what you have in the mind. Because there's always going to be a variable that you did not take into consideration. Okay, all right, I'm good on that. Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to the mind, now I'm gonna boost up the mind. A lot of you guys have the spirit of light workers, but the mind of humans. And the mind has to learn how to share space with the spirit. For example, abortion. I knew this was gonna come up. Thank you, Spirit, for allowing this to come up. Kelly, peace and bliss. Angie, Elise, Meredith, all you guys, peace and bliss. Carol, peace and bliss to my beautiful kings and queens. Oh wow, I lost my train of thought. Okay, I guess that's gone. All right, what's up? That's right. Sharing the relationship with the spirit, sharing the mind with the spirit. Okay, a lot of you guys are getting so distracted on things like abortion, and on things like, you know, gosh. You don't need to worry about anything that has to do with the government. You don't need to be thinking about anything that has to do with election year. You don't need to worry about anything that has to do with abortion. None of that shit applies to you as a light worker. Because we know that we're working on a higher plane. It's like, so you're on a football field, right? Or you're involved in a football program, right? But you're the person in the skybox, right? You're the person that has the binoculars, that's looking down the field, and you're telling the team how to line up. You're telling the defense how to line up so you can make the plays that are going to be most effective for the team, right? When you are in that skybox, you don't have to worry about being tackled. You don't have to worry about being sacked. You don't have to worry about fumbling the ball. Those are for the humans. We were sent here because all we have to do is think about the end results. We just have to think about what we do want to see and what we do want to happen, and that's going to manifest. We don't have to worry about the how. We just focus on the what. And that requires you to step into the mentality of a light worker. A light worker shouldn't care about people dying. shouldn't care about the news when someone gets murdered. Because as soon as you start caring about that, you start blocking your vision from being able to see that all you had to do was keep your intention on creating life and keep your intention on seeing life to cure the very thing that you're watching on the news. That's why you have to be careful not to let negativity into your life. Because the second you give it your energy, and you give it your energy by thinking on it, your thoughts are what gives things energy. So your thoughts create worlds in the astral planes. And then when you give it your energy, it materializes until it becomes physical. So as soon as you start thinking about negativity, even if you're thinking about how much you don't like negativity, you're still thinking about negativity. So you're still giving your energy to it, so it's still growing. So remembering what it means to be a light worker is remembering that it's our job to get people to forget about the evil. We're not fighting shit. This isn't a war. That's another illusion. This is not a fight. This is a transition. It's going to happen regardless. But the transition is getting people to realize that their thoughts create reality. Therefore, if we want a reality that reflects heaven, where there is no negativity, then we have to forget about negativity. Once you forget about it, it can't exist. If you don't give it your attention, it can't exist in your dimension. Remember? I'm just refreshing y'all memory right now. That's all I'm doing. I'm refreshing your memory. You remembered all of this. You guys don't remember we were all sitting at this huge, big oval table. We all had our light bodies and we were like, yo, this is the plan when we go down to Earth. Y'all remember? Y'all like, bet. So I'm just catching you guys up on what the plan always was. So all the things in your life that you want to change them by forgetting about them. That's the healing process. See, when I healed my anger issues a long time ago, I forgot about all the things that made me angry. They didn't matter anymore because my emotion wasn't being triggered by those things, so I had no reason to remember these things. Okay, all right. So that was my last channel for now. Love you guys. If you like this video, share it. And I will connect with you all tomorrow. Join the Healing Alchemist group. Like the Healing Alchemist page. If you need any healing sessions, if you need help forgetting, I will help you help you. So I love you guys, I like you guys, and I like you guys. You guys have a blessed, awesome, blissful, empowering, resilient, peaceful, present moment in the rest of your life. Love you guys.